honestly, I didn't even care. And then all this freaking news came out, and now we potentially have one of the coolest comic book films ever, potentially. Let's talk about it. What is up, guys? It's time for a quick news update, comic book news update. Obviously, I wasn't planning on doing any kind of like Spider-Man news or anything. This stuff's all par for the course. But then all of a sudden, all these little stories started coming out about a potential Spider-Verse movie with returning characters. Really, the first one out the gate that I remember was the Electro. And that news kind of inspired me to review Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I wanted to really give my opinions on the movie because it's often hated. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna kind of defend this movie a little bit. So I added it to my Hear Me Out series. But then, like yesterday, I think I heard about Doc Ock returning. I heard about Kirsten Dunst. And then, like right at the end of that, Andrew Garfield was confirmed. I've heard that Tobey Maguire is like in talks right now. And then just today, I went on Twitter and Charlie Cox from freaking Daredevil is going to be in this. So we're going to read through the latest story because I'm sure it'll mention everything else in the past. And I'll give you a little bit of my thoughts and speculation on the news and what I would like from these characters. All right. So as you can see, I responded to this news report. This is on discussing film Charlie Cox rumored to return as Daredevil in Spider-Man 3. My response was fuck, because that's freaking awesome. So let's click on that. Source, Murphy's Multiverse. I don't know how reputable these sources are because I've never heard of Murphy's Multiverse, but we'll read through it. Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil in Spider-Man 3. Daredevil is about to be reborn in the MCU. That's the latest bombshell we've heard from several of our trusted sources. Now that Netflix shows are toast, Kevin Feige finally has his chance to envision the characters to fit his ever-growing sandbox of a multi-platformed universe. So Kevin Feige is a big part behind this. Murphy's Multiverse has learned that Charlie Cox, star of the beloved Netflix show, is set to make his grand debut in the MCU in the third Spider-Man film. Because if you remember, in the TV shows, they didn't like to blend, like if the TV shows are the peanut butter and the movies are the jelly, they didn't like to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I guess. I got a thing for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches lately for some reason. But we always knew that it was within the MCU because they would have little Easter eggs in the TV shows. And I'm not going to read everything here, just the important stuff. This was inevitable. Daredevil was always going to end up in Feige's box of toys. The big question that surrounded the character's official MCU debut was when and on what platform. With reports of a Hulu and Disney Plus merger circulating the web, a fresh Daredevil show with the Marvel Studios exploring brand attached is certainly a good way to debut that service. Marvel Studios is keen on thoroughly exploring the street side of the MCU, and a chunk of their slate reflects that. You've got Blade, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, looking forward to that one, and even Miss Marvel. It's going to be interesting when all these shows finally roll out too, because constantly during this whole COVID nightmare, we just keep hearing news, but nothing ever comes out. Or at least nothing that I'm wanting to see so far, but I'm looking forward to some of these shows. Yeah, the Spider-Man 3 cast is officially going to be very, very epic. Let's see if we can find the story on that. Now, as we all know, Doc Ock is returning. Doc Ock is arguably one of the best played out Spider-Man villains. Not the best Spider-Man villains to me. I'm a Venom guy, but I'm saying as far as directing a movie and having it play out in the perfect fashion, Doc Ock, for sure. Everything about Spider-Man 2 is exactly what you would want in a great comic book film. You know, it just has the perfect balance, the perfect pacing. All the beats are there. It's amazing. But it's not amazing. It's just Spider-Man 2. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is still good though. So according to E-Talk, let us go on record to say that 2020 is the year of the cinematic comeback. Perhaps we're all feeling a bit nostalgic from many emphasis on many hours spent helplessly glued to our televisions and couches lately, but it seems everything that once struck a chord with viewers is slated for an epic return. As it stands, no movie or TV show is safe from talks or a reboot or cast reunion, and surely Marvel's ever-imposing list of upcoming projects is no exception. Which makes me think too, this is a tough time for actors right now, getting roles and everything because of all the COVID limitations and everything. So maybe this is a time for studios to reach out to those actors when they're kind of quote-unquote starving, and get them to say yes, and sign the dotted line, like say Tobey Maguire, because maybe Tobey Maguire was really resistant to this idea, and maybe all this crap that's going on right now has lured him into signing. I don't know, that's speculation on my part, but over the years, Peter Parker has accumulated a loyal legion of fans, and now, as we eagerly await the release of Spider-Man 3, we've been giving an exciting bit of news. Everyone is coming back, literally everyone. The Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, yep. Jamie Foxx as Electro, yep. Doctor Strange, yep. I forgot about that one. Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus, confirmed. Kirsten Dunst as MJ, also confirmed. Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker, in negotiations. Repeat, in negotiations. Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, also in negotiations. I mean, really, why enlist a new cast of characters when you can reunite the crew, as they say? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think a big part of this too is J. Jonah Jameson showing up at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. And him, of course, being from Raimi's trilogy. And so maybe that opened the idea of, hey, is he the J. Jonah Jameson from that universe and he happens to pop into this universe? Is that how they're playing this? So I think that was kind of the seed that started this whole thing. Now, as great as this could be, this also could go the opposite direction and completely fall on its face, because when you have so many characters returning and everybody wants to get that ample amount of real estate, you're teetering a little bit. It's a fine line to find that perfect balance, the perfect pace for this type of film, okay? They did it right with Avengers, obviously. All 4 Avengers movies are really solid. So I think with Kevin Feige behind this, because I didn't know how much of Sony and how much of this was MCU, Marvel. And it sounds like everybody's on board. Everybody wants to collaborate to make the best product possible. I can't imagine them not getting Tobey Maguire. They would have to at this point, right? With all those, I mean, can you imagine watching this movie and Tobey Maguire is not in the movie and they have to recast him? Because that universe is here. Or just not have that universe's Spider-Man show up? No way. So they're getting Tobey Maguire to sign on that dotted line. He might make a boatload of money, actually, because this is the one guy that everybody wants to return as Spider-Man. Constantly people say, please give me Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man again. He's just loved by the fans. I am actually super excited to see Andrew Garfield come back, because I would love to see him finally get another chance at the web slinger, because he didn't get anything after Spider-Man 2. He was supposed to be in the MCU, but he kind of screwed that up for himself. At least that's what I think. But I loved him as Spider-Man. The character Spider-Man, I think Andrew Garfield nailed him the best. He had all the quick-witted responses. He had the right body type, really slender. The web slinging through the city, I think he looked the best. Yeah, so I'm excited for him the most as Spider-Man. As Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire, of course. And just the thought of seeing 3 different Spider-Mans, maybe 4 with Miles Morales. I haven't heard anything about Miles Morales. Let me know in the comments. Can you imagine that? Seeing 4 versions of Spider-Man on the screen at the same time? Wow. I mean, just freaking chill bumps just thinking about it. It's going to be amazing. No pun intended. Also, my next question, where do we go from here? Say this movie comes out. Obviously, this is going to be a big hit. There's no doubt about it. This will be huge, especially if theaters are back to normal. This would be massive, like massive. I am a huge Spider-Man fan. He's my number 3 behind the Hulk and Superman. I love the character. I grew up with the character. Everybody wants to be Spider-Man, and he's the most relatable because he's not rich. He's just a normal kid living in New York City, not the most popular kid, but as Spider-Man, he gets to be larger than life, and we all want to be that, right? And just that image of the web slinger flying through the city of New York, you know, and everybody would love to do that. That would be the most awesome thing in the world. So everybody loves Spider-Man. So this is great news. Let me know in the comments who you're looking forward to returning the most. Really curious. Where would you like this story to go? And I didn't even finish my thought, but if this is a big hit, where do we go from here? Do they do another Spider-Verse movie? Do they make a trilogy of these movies? I don't know. That's a lot of freaking balls to juggle. That didn't sound right at all. Anyway, guys, that's my update on Spider-Man. Tomorrow night on DD Live, I'm going to be talking more about this. I'll probably dedicate the whole episode to just Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. Do you love Spider-Man? Anyway, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks where we talk horror all day and every day on Fridays. We do free for all Fridays. Follow my Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.